You are now joining the meeting.
Hello, this is Derek. Any media on the line yet? Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, just making sure you were there. We just got checked into the hotel here in Ypsilanti, so I'm going to hand the phone over to Coach, let him kind of review Minnesota, and we'll take your questions on Michigan. Here's Coach.
Good afternoon. How are we doing? It's a balmy 8 degrees in Ann Arbor, so we feel like we're, a day at the beach. But coming off of Minnesota, it was first 10, 12 minutes of that game were literally like just a good old-fashioned whooping. It was men against boys early, and the 1 for 19 start only magnified really the issue. But I'm really proud of our guys. We fought back. We gave ourselves a chance. We had a 4 at the 12-minute or 2-possession game at the media, or at the 12-minute media, 2-possession game at the 8-minute media. And it's a 5-point game, and we had a very clean look at 2 threes to cut it to 1 possession late with DeMonte and Trent having 2 wide open looks. But I liked our fight and coming back. 19 offensive rebounds enabled us to stay in the game in an extremely poor shooting night. And when you get 2 for 11 from AJ and 1 for 2 for 10 from Finke are right in there. That's those numbers aren't going to bode well for us on most nights, and yet we felt like we got great looks. So then Mason did what a senior should do. First team All Big Ten guard hits a huge 3, and that pretty much just iced the game. It was off an air ball. We'd actually played great defense, and they made the play. And but again, it was it was a tough start, and you can't spot yourself 20 or 22 point deficit on the road against the quality opponent and expect to win.
Brad, it's Jeremy Warner. You went with a different lineup to start the second half, and it sounded like after the game that you'd like to make a change to the starting lineup. Do you envision that, and what do you plan on going with?
Well, I think I thought the lineup change didn't have as much to do with any one individual getting off to a tough start or not playing well. I thought it was more reactionary for me on terms of the moment of the game and guys that kind of had the hot hand, and there'll be some changes tomorrow. To some level, I don't know. I haven't totally decided. It'll be a game time decision. We've worked on 2 or 3 different things today, yesterday and today in Minneapolis. But we've obviously, our problems aren't defensively as much as they are offensively. We tried to open the other night, getting the ball to LeRon, and trying to establish him for 3 or 4 easy looks early, and yet we accomplished those. The changes aren't as much about the personnel. I made substitutions really quick the other night, and we've gone back, and Michael got really good looks. Kipper took 2 bad ones, but got 4 or 5 really good ones, and I think you got to attribute our opponent a little bit in that. But and then I thought Trent gave us a spark coming in, and DeMonte gave us a spark coming in, and the ball moves has been moving better, with those guys in the lineup. So we'll see, but I wouldn't expect for anybody to see that same group run out there tomorrow.
Yeah, Brett, I was wondering, just follow up on that. A lot of people react to a starting lineup. But what goes into a starting lineup for you, and how important is that? Do we put more importance in it? Do fans put more importance to it than you do?
Oh, you guys put way more into it than I do. I don't want to get off to good or bad starts. I've always tried to put guys who have the best defensive approach to what we do. Mark Allstork has been incredible on the defensive end, guarding other teams. Guys, he impacted the game tremendously in the second half. And then you try to find guys that that have a chemistry together. And I try to develop that a little bit. And yet I try so hard to bring firepower off our bench. And, as much talk as there is about our starters, there's been no talk about how productive our bench has been. It's been one of the most productive benches in the country. And, with AJ and Trent of late, I mean, you're talking, DeMonte, you're talking a lot of productivity coming off the bench. And, look at Greg's game the other night and, his improvement. So, I think it's just as important you have firepower coming off your bench as you do starters, and yet we can't dig ourselves a hole, and I'm sensitive to that. Like I said, I made quick substitutions the other night, and that didn't solve it either right away. And but we broke down every offensive possession, every defensive possession since then, and we've got to get a better flow, and we've got to get better ball movement. We've got to we've got to do a much better job of playing deeper into the clock when we're in the half court, and we're taking too many shots with 12 to 22 seconds on the shot clock, and almost every one of those led to Minnesota's transition baskets, and we've got to be smarter than that. We've got to be better than that, and not panic. And again, that's ball movement.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Brad. Scott Ritchie. Mark Smith, last year's high school senior, had the ball in his hands all the time. Just what's maybe been the difference or the challenge of him maybe learning to run the offense at the college level, and where do you see maybe he's made strides or still needs some work?
Well, he's continuing to make strides there. And I think the one thing that Mark every single day is growing a great deal in terms of we continue to play him there. Playing that position is not just about you scoring individually, and it's about and knowing the responsibility of other guys there. In our offense, he's got just as much right to have the ball as anybody else. We're positionless. Because we don't have him bring the ball up, doesn't mean he's not that guy. And I think that, you factor in, making the adjustment, figuring out where you're getting your shots and how to make others better. I say this all the time. Good players make themselves better. Great ones make their teammates better. Laron and Finke, they have to be, they're guys that can be very, very productive on the offensive end, but they need help. What do I mean by that? They have to have somebody put them in position to score the ball, or we have to run actions to get them shots. And Mark continues to advance in all those areas and seeing the floor, and we're playing him more in practice at the point, so to speak, in terms of doing that. We've Mark offensively is in a pretty good place. His challenges become guarding the other team's guys at that spot on the ball, and that's the continued growth of learning to play man-to-man defense. And but I've been really pleased, and what he's what he does in high school at 6'4", 225 pounds is a little different in terms of coming off a ball screen and seeing a 6'10" or 7-foot guy like you saw in Big Ten play, and the reactions you've got to make and the plays you got to make. But he's doing great. I've been really pleased with him, and I think we'll continue to see growth in that area as we progress through Big Ten play.
I guess maybe looking at Michigan, obviously lose Irvin and Walton, but what have you maybe seen from this group that seems to be having similar type success?
Well, they're extremely efficient offensively, and you're talking about a team that is tremendously unselfish. Their offensive system is something that I want to get our guys to. I want to get to that same deal where they shoot it from all 5 positions. They have a mentality that is, if you do A, they can do B. Where it's read based and there's counters and that team's been together. They've obviously been in that system. You've got a guy like Duncan Robinson, who I have tremendous appreciation for, is a Division III guy that Michigan gives a scholarship to, and he's having a phenomenal year in terms of being able to shoot the basketball, and Wagner's a pro at the 5 and can step out and shoot it, and their inconsistencies maybe have been a little bit at the point, but they've got a freshman point guard in Brooks that they feel very comfortable with, and the addition of Matthews has transferred from Kentucky. He's given him a legitimate wing score, and then Rockbond is a guy that he had 16 against us, 15 or 16 against us in the tournament last year. Just a steadying force. He's a 4-year guy, and this is a veteran team that has they're a very well-oiled machine on the offensive end, and so they're a team that shoots 36-37% from the 3, and they want to shoot a bunch of them, and we can't allow them to shoot uncontested threes. We got to do a great job of closing out and making life difficult for them. And we've got to enhance ourselves by running good offense and playing good offense on our end. That can be our best defense.
Coach, this is Derek Piper. You mentioned the reads and the counters, and you've also talked about a difference between the offense you see in practice versus particularly early on in the game. Is that maybe what's lacking? Is that the difference maker between one and the other?
No question. We can prepare for what the opponent does on film and what we think they're going to do against us, and a great example, we didn't know in the Michigan game who would guard LeBron. We go into that every battle. Who's going to guard LeBron? Who's going to guard or Minnesota, excuse me. Who's going to guard LeBron? Who's going to guard Finke? How they'll match. I like to script a little bit what we try to do, have a game plan mentally of what the first 4 or 5 things look like. We pretty much got what we thought. And yet you see a guy like LeBron have tremendous success against Jeremiah Tillman. And so we had tremendous confidence that would he could take advantage and exploit that matchup. And to Lynch's credit, he made some great plays. But you got an idea what you want to do early, and then when they take that stuff away, then you've got to move on to the next. And that's where when the first option breaks down, then okay, how are we playing out of that? And that's where we've been bogged down a little bit. And again, I think that's where Trent and DeMonte and some of those other guys have really been able to excel for us is they can get by that next guy and make the next play, and option 3, option 4 then become basketball plays instead of just set plays. We all good?
Yep.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brad.